And we're live. Hey, everybody. Look who I found wandering around outside. It is the Manic mechanic himself, Justin Dow. Look at this, huh?
Uh,
Found him out wandering around the streets looking for something to do and said, Justin, I'm a huge fan of yours. I didn't want to embarrass him too much. I should have said that before we went live and everything. I've been a big, huge fan of your channel ever since I was introduced to it by the bear. And what was funny is that I was watching your dad's channel, the Home Handyman, before I had even found out about your channel. And I can't remember if it was one of your Jeeping videos or something like that that I found out that he was your dad. And it's like, oh wow, when the blind guy gets up like about this close to the screen, then you can see my screen is so big that it actually makes me glow like I'm getting radiation therapy, but I'm not. So everybody say hello to Justin.
so
You see, we have Evan the cameraman. This is a pop-up, what do I call it, a pop-up chat. So wasn't really advertised or anything, but we'll see if anybody comes out and says hello to us. I'm sure we'll probably see Ed, the old tech guy, out here sometime. Maybe Joe will stop in. What do you think?
maybe. In fact, let me do my part because I didn't have a crazy thumbnail. I'll post it up, see if we can't get some other cats to join on in.
There you go. Here's a few. Evan, how are you doing? How is the trailer? I'm still looking for the trailer video. I have not seen it. So they just picked up that flux core welder, the real inexpensive Chicago Electric one. Do you have any experience with that, Justin? Can you give me any tips on that, Evan and his dad?
Give me 1 second to post our deal.
There's Evan the cameraman. If you guys see me disappear off the camera for a second, it's only because I'm squinting to see who is out here in the chat and trying to get your chats up there. Drummer 0701. I wonder what the story. I always wonder what the story behind the numbers in people's names are. Clayton is out here. How you doing, Clayton?
Junior Kelly says he's in the middle of the shop doing valve covers on an 03 Ford Explorer, and it sucks. Oh, man. Beautiful for you. All right, going back to the previous question you had, Dale, what was that now? He was looking for a welder? Is that right?
Well, they picked up that flux core welder from Chicago Electric. That
98.
Yeah, that little.
Yeah, for years. I liked it. It was a nice starter one.
Yeah, I don't think he's got to do anything crazy. I think he's welding on some little brackets and stuff like that on his trailer. But they had me cracking up because they opened it up and there's like this. It looks like a ball mask that they give you, for that has a little handle on it. Those masks that they wear, fancy masquerade balls or whatever, has a handle on it, and but the front of it looks like a welding helmet. I'm like, oh yeah, that looks real safe for your eyes.
Right. Yeah, no, I had that flux core when I started off in community college. It was when it was the 90 amp and it was a Chicago Electric still, and it was the blue one. It definitely paid for itself for sure. I did a handful of exhaust work with a mobile mechanic friend of mine. We made a few bucks, at least a half a dozen times more than we paid for the dang thing. And then later down the road, I ended up picking up another one when I moved back down to the lower desert. And that thing helped me out of a lot of pinches between putting on a receiving hitch on my trailer to putting on the leg adapter that actually unwinds and allows the trailer to prop up. I had ball joints that were coming out of my pickup truck, and I couldn't figure out why because they were brand new replacements, and I didn't hog anything out, so they just kept popping out. So when I pressed them back in, I welded all the way around it. I was like, you know what? Next time they go out, I'll just replace the entire control arm. But for right now, if it's going to hold, it's going to hold. And I tell you what, it held up pretty dang good. I've used it for just a bunch of handful of weird things too. There was at the dealership, they asked if I had a welder because nobody else did, and I had this 90 amp thing. Well, one of the customers' running boards was falling off, and it was metal to metal, and it's just pop metal, right? So I just welded it in place. They didn't care so long as they can get in and out, and they were some hefty people, so it was like the brackets that it originally came with wasn't enough to support the weight of a person trying to climb into it. So with me welding it in place, they were happy as hell. So, it's a great welder. It doesn't have as much penetration as maybe like the titanium or the Omni Pro or what have you. But you know what? It does work. You might not get the prettiest weld in the entire world, but you put it on there thick enough, it'll hold.
Oh, so you could probably. I was kind of thinking maybe not, but so you could probably go ahead and do like he's welding on a trailer, so you probably do some frame gusseting, like a reinforcement gusset on the frame or something like that, huh?
Correct.
I thought that might be a little underpowered for that. That's awesome. Looks like Rich M is out there, and the Plumber One out there. I'm going to call you Plumber One. Okay, I make up my own names for people because this might as well be across the football field for me. I have to duck out of the camera to see your comments. He said the number is his zip code.
If you're on StreamYard, go to the top right. It'll say private chat and it'll say live comments. Click on the live comments. That'll bring up your live stream of the comments that are available. So you don't have to bounce back and forth at that point between YouTube and StreamYard. The only thing that you had to do if you want to see the like count is to switch over to YouTube. But I'll tell you, with 14 people watching and 7 thumbs up, we're halfway to our goal. So get the thumbs up going, everybody. What's going on, Bobby?
I can see the live stream, Justin. It's just that all I can see is it moving. It looks like ants over, and it's not more than, 1.5 feet away from me. So, I'll get right up on it.
Nice. Drummer says the Harbor Freight Icon coupon is still working. He just ordered the Icon screwdriver set today. Can't wait to get him. Phenomenal set. Grimute, what's up? He says, what's up, Dale?
Grim, how are you doing, man? It's good to see you out there. This guy is everywhere. It's like he must have like 20 computers and be on roller skates going between them or something, because I don't know how, but he seems to be on every live chat. Right. Dropped out of a live chat, go to another one, and it's like, there's Grim again. Anyway, so I had kind of some fun stuff up, and don't answer this question, Justin, but and be nice, guys, because my little buddy Evan, the cameraman, is out there. So let's try and keep it PG-13, even though my wife might come in here and say the dirty word for a gentleman's club again. I hope she doesn't do that. She did. I was asking everyone to be nice. She was the one that wasn't nice. Anyway. In the comments, guys, what do you think Justin's favorite car is? It might be the Princess Mobile. I'm not sure, but I was curious. Sometimes you can tell by looking at somebody what kind of car, if they could have that car, what would that car be?
So not the ones that I own, but ones that I might want to own.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, I think that was something that Joe Smith does on his radio show. Oh, wait, I've got let me throw something up real quick, Justin. I wanted to remind everybody that Joe Smith and friends, his talk show, he's going to have, oh, wow, boy, this thing is going to actually be kind of small, but let me move us over so we can see this.
Nice.
Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
It looked much bigger in the store. Anyway, Eric the Car Guy is going to be on the After Dark show with Joe Smith coming up this Friday. It's going to be like 10 o'clock Central Time, and that's what, Justin, 8 o'clock our time, right? Pacific time.
I want to say, yeah, we're about an hour or two away from Central, and then it's 3 hours from the East Coast.
Yeah, I think see, I always laugh about that, and if I seem like I'm confused about times, it's only because in Arizona we leave our clocks alone. When I lived back east and I was consulting and everything, I told everybody, don't get mad at me if I don't know the difference between daylight savings time and standard time or whatever, because you know what? We leave our clocks alone in Arizona. We don't have to wake up an hour earlier or wake up an hour later, get an extra hour of sleep, which you can't do. You get like this internal biological clock. And guess what? Edison invented lights a long time ago. So we don't have to do that no more. Why are we still messing with the clock? Leave it alone. And being where I'm at, I'm not that far from Vegas. So sometimes it messes up our cell phones where their time changes and ours doesn't. And so for some reason it thinks, oh, they're close enough. They must want to know what time it is over at the Horseshoe or something. I don't know.
Jacob says, Toyota Prius, just kidding, LOL. Anyone that's been watching my channel for any length period of time knows exactly what vehicle I would want to own. It's my number one. Hasn't changed. Still the same. So anyone, and they should know the exact year, make, and model, because I know I've brought it up enough times. Not just between live stream, but in videos as well.
So I'm going to say no to the Camaro, and I don't know this, and I thought I'd watched your channel plenty, but he doesn't have a mullet, so no. I have a mullet, right? No, there we go. So I could drive a Camaro, but let's see, what was this one?
And any hints that I could give would just straight give it away. So that's why I'm just going to hold off for a little bit. But you let me know when you want the hint, and it'll be so subtle that somebody should get it.
Let me see here. Somebody got one of mine, Justin.
Oh, nice.
I have. This is not mine. I just went out and find cars that look like ones I used to have. 78 Chevy Camaro. Mine wasn't anything fancy. It was an LT because it was back in that day. It was a grocery getter, and that was one of the things I thought we kind of talk about. Is it's probably outside of your purview, but when I was a kid, that's the one thing about being my age. Is that we had all of the cool cars, and they were just, that's what we put all the kids in when we got groceries in, was all those great cool cars. So I thought I'd pop some up for you throughout the night here and see what
I will tell you some old school muscle cars that I have owned that are not the ones that I would, well, it'd be nice to own them, but it's not my number one. But at any rate, ones that I've owned, so I've had, I believe it was a 68 or 69 Camaro. I've had a 72 Pontiac Trans Am. It was all white with the blue Flaming Eagle on the top of the hood.
Oh, there you go.
I've had an old Dodge pickup truck. I want to say it was mid to late 70s, and it was lowered, and it was meant for dirt track. And I've had I had a 74. I think it was a Chevy step-side, or was it a 76? I think it was a 70 though. It was one of the first step-sides that came out. It might have even been an 80s. It's been so long since I've had that, but it was a beautiful truck. It really was. But yeah, I've had a handful of muscle cars throughout the years, and would love to get my hands on another one, even just to tinker on. And even if it wasn't my number one, I'd love, that would be like my next thing. I've done my Jeep stuff. Wouldn't mind having another Jeep project, but at the same token, I'm kind of over it, and I'm ready to move back to the small block Chevy 350 and maybe do something with that,
Well, I'm going to go on a limb here and say maybe a 70 Dodge Dart.
Nope.
Maybe a Gremlin.
No, you're thinking Uncle Tony's garage now.
They're all the good old cars. Everybody thinks, people used to get the Pinto back when I was a kid, and they said, well, I got a pony car. It's a Pinto or a Maverick. And Mavericks are somewhat cool now, I think, aren't they? Supposedly, and they were junk cars. Nobody wanted a Maverick back when Mavericks were all over the place. So they still wanted a Mustang, but nobody wanted a Maverick.
My mom's first car that she ever owned was a Pinto. Grim, nope, it's not a Roadrunner. But I will tell you, a non-subtle hint would be it is of the domestic platform. So it does not include European or Asian. It is a domestic vehicle. And I would put it, the second hint would be I would put it in the muscle car area. Those are your two hints. Anything further than that, I think it would get really, really tight as far as what it was.
Are there muscle cars that are not domestic?
Yeah, well, I don't know that it would be a muscle car, not domestic, but I guess, yeah, you could put Ferrari, I suppose, in that area, right?
Well, yeah, sure.
You guys watched the Ford v Ferrari? That was a great movie.
Did you see Graham? He had a 70 Duster.
Hey, that ain't bad. I have a friend. His name's Kyle. He has a Duster. He loved that dang thing.
Clayton said if he had his choice, he'd be buried in his 72 Duster. Is that not a choice? Is that like where they draw a line somewhere? It's like, yeah, at my funeral, I want to make sure that I at least have underwear on, even if I'm wearing a suit or being cremated. I still want underpants on. Oh, yeah, bury me in my 72 Camaro. I'm thinking that could, I don't see why that couldn't be in a last wishes type thing going on.
All right, everyone's throwing out some good ones here. Super B, Super Bird. Let's see, Jacob, don't say diesel to Justin. Yeah, exactly. I am not a diesel guy by any means. That is my least. If I work on anything with wheels, for the exception of a diesel anything. Absolutely cannot stand diesel.
Yeah, I already answered that one, Clayton. I said that. I said that he didn't have a mullet, but I do. So I threw it up already, right? I threw up. That was my Camaro. I had a Camaro. Well, my wife had a Camaro. My first wife had a Camaro, and it hated her. That car set her walking. Maybe you could figure out what this was, Justin. My first wife and I had to grocery get her 78 Camaro, and this car hated her. It really did. She would drive it to work, and she'd come storming in the house after work, and she'd throw the keys at me because it wouldn't run for her. I would grab the keys, I'd walk down there, and every time I put the key in it and started it, it would start up and drive home. And the only thing I could think of is the car, hopefully the car was a girl, and it was jealous of her or something.
Could be because she flooded the carburetor too.
And it just had enough time. I thought about that, but I kind of liked my dramatic approach to it. But you know what was really funny is she, after we got her divorce and everything, I was the one that ended up having to pay for the car, because you get a divorce and they can't let you out of anything, no court or land. Even though we had it all settled, she didn't pay for it. So I ended up paying for a car she had. And the new boyfriend that she had at the time, told her the car was no good, that it was junk, the engine blew up or something. And so I'd asked her one day, because my brother-in-law asked me about it, my new brother-in-law. He said, hey, what's your ex-wife going to do with the car? I said, I don't know. He goes, well, do you think she'd want to have it hauled off? It's just sitting in their backyard, weeds growing up around it. So long story short, I asked her, she said, well, yeah, but, blah, 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 says the engine's blown up. And I'm like, well, he's just going to haul it off. I don't know what he's going to do with it, but it's out of your yard. So we went over to get it, and I asked her for the keys, and she said, it doesn't run. I told you it doesn't run around. What do you want the key for? And I said, well, the steering is locked. So if he's going to tow it and I'm going to, we need to at least, Justin, I got in that car and started it up and drove it away out of her yard. It's been sitting there forever. Told you the car hated her. Car did not like her.
Too funny. No, it's not a Trackhawk. It's not a Duster. It's not a GTR. It's not a Grand National, but the Grand National is super freaking cool. I'd love to have one. It's not a Torino, and it's not the Torino with the Cobra Jet. But I will tell you, it is part of the rare car category. You might be able to get a kit version but it is on the rear car side. I will throw that out there. That'll be my third hint.
They got another one of mine, JD. 71 Torino. I had a 71 Torino. That was before Clint Eastwood made movies about it.
Right.
And Clint was probably 12 back when I had a Torino. It was still a cool car, though. I didn't know if it was a muscle car back then. I guess, back then, I don't even think I remember what engine did that thing have in it. It might have had a Windsor in it or something. I don't remember. Somebody out there will know.
Clayton says Shelby Cobra. Grim says Cobra. I will tell you that my grandfather did have a kit car Shelby Cobra. That thing was pretty damn rad. Convertible top, 2-seater. We used to blast all around Palm Springs with that thing. Phenomenal car. Lots of power. Loved that thing. Can't believe he sold it. Was really hoping he would have given it to me. But as I was graduating high school, he had sold it. So it wasn't in early teenage, young adolescent condition for me, if you will. I'm pretty sure if he would have held on to it for about a decade or two more, there might have been a chance. But unfortunately, he sold it. I wouldn't mind getting a kit car. If I couldn't get exactly what it was that I wanted, I wouldn't mind getting a kit car.
These guys are good at this game. They're probably going to end up getting it, aren't they?
Well, the thing is I just gave them their fourth hint while I was describing what the car is. I gave them another solid hint. They might have missed it, but in answering that last question, you might have caught wind of the other hint. Unsubtle.
Not so subtle. Is it made out of the same thing as your beer can?
Oh no! Because back then those cars were meant. Those things are built thick. You know what I mean? You could probably roll those things 10 times over, and it would still start and run and drive. Ooh, hint number 5. How about that?
Not that I ever tried.
Hint number 5. I'm getting better at trying to give out hints without giving away the exact car.
Yeah, before you got really good at that sort of thing, it was like, man, I want to go to the beer store that Justin is working at. It's like, come on, bro. I got enough for one, but I really need a 6-pack to get a good buzz.
All right. No, not a Pantera, not a Bronco.
Oh, but that Bronco's a good one.
Joey says 302, 390, or 428. In a Cobra Jet, pretty sure those are the options of the Torino, maybe 351. I don't know. I'd have to look again. I will tell you, you're pretty right on the money, maybe for cubic inch as far as the big block is concerned.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't think my Torino had the 428. It would have had to have been the 390 then, because I'm sure it was better than the 302. I knew the 302. I'm pretty sure it was better than the 302 that I had in mind.
Yes, Graham, it is domestic muscle. El Camino. Ooh, no. But I almost owned 2 El Caminos, but my money was not exactly right at the time. But those are nice cars. GTO. Ooh, another favorite of mine, but not the number one. But yes, a favorite for sure.
I saw my son-in-law posted on his chat somebody was getting ready to put something in a GTO. Maybe it was a Hemi or something. But anyway, it was a red GTO station wagon with the fake wood grain looking side station wagon. And it's like, man, I remember when I was a kid working for the fire department, we had one of those. It used to be the old fire chief's car that we use for a go-getter now.
Right. GTO boss. No. Nope. I will tell, okay, one more hint, and now we're getting into the trickier ones. It was in a movie, in a very popular movie at that.
Oh, I think I might have it. I think I might have it.
Evan's on the right track, but what kind? Evan's on the right. Yeah, Clayton. Clayton knows. See, I told you if I gave away the bigger secrets, it would be it. Yep. 1967 Shelby GT 500 Mustang Fastback with the 427.
See here.
Give it up for Clayton. Clayton for the win.
Clayton wins. We're not giving you anything, Clayton. You just won, bro. It was your car, Justin. You have to give Clayton a beer.
Oh yeah, there you go. Cheers.
Okay, here's another one.
Your Monday.
Get the wrong one here.
That's a 65 convertible, isn't it?
This is a 64 and a half. Does anybody know if they actually really made a 64 and a half Mustang? This is a.
I don't know for sure. My grandmother, that was her dream car. She wanted a 65 convertible, split window Mustang. That was her go-to car.
That was I had one, and I tried to get them in accurate colors that I had as well. And I also had, let's see if somebody knows this one. This one I just recently, and I probably should, I keep kicking myself for getting rid of it, but it was a manual, and my wife hated driving this car, and it just sat in the garage all the time because, as I've told you guys before, Dale's a blind guy, he can't see nothing, so I drive a little bit, but not very much, and the cops don't have anywhere near as much sense of humor about it as what they used to back when I was a kid. So you can't get away with that kind of stuff at all. But this was a 66 convertible, and I had it in blue. I picked it up for almost nothing, and like a big dummy, I ended up getting rid of it.
That was a favorite, Joey. Grim called it at best. A dream car, if you will. One that I'll probably never own, but one that I can definitely put on my list of favorite cars to own if I ever ran into, I don't know, some big ass money. What would be really cool is to have the one from the movie itself, smashed or not.
Oh yeah, I'd take it in pieces. I'd be out there every night with. I would certainly learn how to do some body work or something, figure it out to put that car back. Now, Lake's plan, yeah, he's got it.
Rich M said that the GT 500s were 428s. Okay, thank you very much for the correction. I thought it was a 427. I'm mixed up on my liters. Thank you for the correction, Rich. You demand. Cheers, sir.
Lake's plan was saying technically 64 and a half. What happened is that, and this is how I got mine because they didn't know what it was. Back in the day, we didn't have the internet, so you used to have to write to places like Thoroughgood Mustang and those kind of places. And I had found this car, and I said, "Oh, 64 and a half." And they're like, "No, it's a 65. Here's the title." The titles to the 65, 4.5s, all say 65. They were technically 65 model years that were made in early 64 or late 64. So, like, if you found one that was a 65 model year that was March of 64, which is what mine was, then it was a 64 and a half. A lot of people mistakenly think that the 64 and a half is the ones that had the generator in it instead of an alternator. But you could get a 64 and a half with a alternator on it. So that is not the tell. The tell from what Thoroughbred Mustang, these guys out there, Florida told me when they ran the bin and told me it was a 64 and a half. The tell was that the early release date in 64 is what made it a 64 and a half. So it was 64 and a half by name only. So if you ever run across one, look at the month of 64 that it was made in. If it was made in a month of 64, and if the model year is a 65, then you probably have a 64 and a half Mustang.
Grim is correct. Very typical for those Mustangs for the trunk to rust out. You've watched enough of Pimp My Ride or Chip Foose at all, you'll see they have to do a lot of trunk work. And if you watch Uncle Tony's Garage when it comes to darts and dusters and things like that, it'll actually show you what to look for between years, because a lot of people that had gotten in accidents would take quarter panels off of other vehicles and try to pinch weld them back together. So if it was a mutt duster, even though it was still a duster, you could probably have some wiggle room because it was not original paneling. So thought.
Evan is right. I'm almost up to 3,000 subscribers. And I did, as a matter of fact, this car here, when I did have that car, when I got it, I keep throwing this out of the picture there. When I did have that car, it had the regular, issues that they have with the gas tank and whatever. And so when you take out the gas tank, you also take out the bottom of the trunk. So you no longer have a trunk back there. But I was so anxious, my son-in-law and I had got it running. We were so anxious to drive it around that we used the stretchy bungee cords. We used bungee cords and put a jerry can in there. And you should have seen us pull up at the gas station to open up the trunk and fill that gas can up with gas so we could drive that car around. And it was raining and we couldn't get the top up because you guys know how it is when you first, doesn't matter. You get a new motorcycle, right, Justin? It doesn't matter if it's raining a little bit. You're going to be out there riding it.
Well, for me, because of our area, if it's raining a little bit, that means it's going to get ready to rain a lot. So I don't ride in those conditions, to be honest. There was once upon a time ago, it was a nice sunny day, beautiful in the afternoon, even in the morning. Took off work on my motorcycle. Before it was time to leave work, all of a sudden, here come the rain. And by the time I got home, it started flash flooding. So even if it's a little bit of sprinkle, I just leave it parked and I take the car or the truck. My boss is like, "Oh, you pussy." And I'm like, "Okay, get stuck, man. Get washed away. I'm cool. I know what it's like in the desert. I'm not messing around." It would be one thing if it was like a light sprinkle, or if I was in Oregon, maybe even Washington, where it was always overcast with a light sprinkle. It'd be one thing, I think it was that. But knowing what I know about the desert and how exactly it rains, yeah, I ain't messing around.
You're exactly right, Rich. I'm going to put it in the W column. Who is this? Yanzi 12. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if Justin will agree with me, but as far as that whole thing goes, sometimes just because everything in the YouTube community, it seems like it could fly 100 miles an hour at you, and the communication, you have no body language, you have no tonality or anything like that. It's written, it said, so it is written, so it shall be done. And I think it really lends itself to misunderstanding and miscommunication. And I love both of those creators, and wow, it just flew out so quick that I don't think anybody can really give a fair opinion that isn't trying to get linked, clicks or clickbait or something. I don't think they can give a fair opinion of that whole thing because it just happened so quick and so out of the blue, and it's still evolving, and one would hope that all gets worked out and settles down later. So I don't know. I don't know if you saw that comment, Justin, but
what was the comment? I'm sorry.
He wanted to know if we had a comment about Brian and Jet.
I'll say no comment. I think if I was to comment at all, I would just say inappropriate action was taken. But outside of that, I will say no comment.
Yeah. It's a tough one for us because you make friends on all sides of it, and suddenly somebody builds a fence, and your head kind of swims from it, and you just don't know. But what I will say is that they are both great creators, and as far as I know, they're intelligent people and good people. So just know they have good hearts and they're good people, and we'll just kind of pray, hope, whatever, that there'll maybe be some communication there, and that whole thing will maybe work itself out. It'd be great.
What's up, Ed? Cheers, my man. I'm getting pretty low here. I'm going to have to go grab another one.
I am trying to catch up, guys. Junior saw you out there, Ed, the old tech guy. Hey, look who is here, everybody.
Joe Smith.
Joe Smith in the house.
What up, man? Yeah, I really am behind. Here we go. Okay. I was like, I'm trying to follow along, but even I didn't see it till you posted it. What up, Joe?
I am falling off very quick, but I am going to take this opportunity to make a merciless plug here. Everybody, Eric the Car Guy is going to be on Joe Smith's channel this Friday and chime in if I get this wrong, Joe. It's 10 Central Time, and Justin and I were thinking it's going to be, we put this up before, it's going to be 8 your time. And you know what? For some reason, this is the best card I could get off of the screen. My powers of swiping stuff off the internet are failing in my old age. I tell my wife I'm old and infirm. So anyway, if you guys get a chance, go over and check that. Eric the Car Guy, man. I thought I was the biggest star on the guitar show, but then they started having people like Ed the old tech guy on there, and I don't want to speak out of turn because I always forget Jeff's wife's name, but I think Jessie King is Jeff's wife, and she was on there, and gosh, just a plethora of fun people were on there. So I really, I want to thank Joe too, because I had a good time on there, and I think it was a really fun event to get. I did not get it, the whole thing was, until it was explained to me, you don't have to pay attention to video or comments or anything. You don't even have to catch it live. You can just come home later, some night when you want to relax or whatever, you turn on the stream, you relax, and you can just sit there and listen, and there's no visuals you have to worry about. So in that format, it's good fun, great show, and go out there and make sure you see it. Maybe one of these days we'll figure out how to do a premiere thing where you can just, I've noticed with those premieres, Justin, that you can be reminded of something coming up.
Right.
So I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but you can do that.
Joe Smith is absolutely right. Absolutely right. The Bear is not into the whole Springer debate deal. I don't feel like he is going to do a response video to it. Since I know that to be true, I just tossed in my 2 cents in a little video. It wasn't to badmouth either one. It was just to explain what reality is. That was pretty much about it. But I know Jeff pretty well, and no, I don't feel like he's going to do any kind of response video. No vape here. Back on the old Stogarooskies for right now. But who's to know what the future has entailed? And yes, a Coors Light, because it's cheap, and I bought 30 of them, so I might as well sit through it.
I am working on that, Joe. I thought you already were. I thought I didn't have to do it again. He was saying right click, but I think it's these 3 dots here. No, I don't want to block him. Let me see.
20 in the chats, 13 thumbs up. I know we can get it going higher than that. Let's try to see if we can't match it. 22 now. Let's bump it up, gentlemen. Get it going. Oh, yeah, Joe. I've been trying to hang out with Dale for a minute. I've watched a couple of his live streams now and tried to chime in as I can or when I can. And he's good people. Always see him in the comments. Always see him in the live chats. Good people to know. And that's who I like having around me is just good people with good conversation and that support each other. So that's what I'm all about.
Joe, did you check that? I can't see I guess you're talking about in the live stream, but if I bring it up, it's going to echo on here, isn't it? You know what, Justin? Can you take this for a minute so I can do that?
Sure.
I can turn off my camera, then I can go and set a couple of moderators in case somebody gets all rowdy out there or something.
Sure.
All right.
Tell me about your best Budweiser story. Best Budweiser story. Oh, man. If I had to think back on it. Okay, so once upon a time ago, was drinking a whole bunch of different Budweisers, Bud Lights, because we were over in Takata, Japan. We were doing a training mission, and we were in support of Operation Cobra Gold. They were giving out sake and soju, and we were eating sushi. And I should have known better. I should have. But we were shotgunning beers. We were shooting little tiny sips of sake and soju, and I was like, man, this isn't even hitting. The domestic stuff's where it's at, and I'll tell you, that stuff's got a 30-minute kick. And after about a half an hour, they're like, you doing all right? And I started swaying from side to side, and I was like, I don't know, man. So we got onto the buses. We started loading up to head back to camp. I kid you not, man. The Japanese are going, sake, out the bus window. So I'm hanging on. I go, sake. I threw all up and over the bus onto the command sergeant major's feet. He was not happy. But all was forgiven. I didn't have to do any push-ups the next day. And but rest assured, he did not forget me. That guy watched me like a hawk throughout the rest of our training session. So needless to say, I was a little bit limited on what I was allowed to drink out there after the fact. Joe Smith will email you the cards to Mr. Dale. Drummer, LOL. Frank says, Dale Lucid, thanks for the live chat. Grim starts laughing at the situation at hand.
I think I was making noise over your story anyway, Justin, because, again, it's my show.
You're all good. I didn't hear you. I don't know if anyone else did.
I don't, maybe I was just hearing, hopefully I was just hearing it here while it was turned off, but I am still getting used to this. I don't know if when I turn off my camera, if it turns off the audio, but for some reason, Ed, the old tech guy, is not coming up when I try to manage moderators over there, Joe. And Joe, you should have a blue wrench as well as Justin and Michael. So I'm not exactly sure of what is going on there. I need a Joe Smith tutorial on StreamYard or something. Figure it out.
On StreamYard, you can't add moderators on StreamYard. You would physically have to open up a separate tab, go to YouTube, go to your live stream, mute your live stream, and then in the chats on your live stream, at that point, you could select 3 bubbles and then create moderators that way.
Okay. Let me go over, because what was funny is that I can manage moderators, and I think Joe told me this one. You can click the 3 dots above where the live stream is, and there's a manage moderator screen. And you go over there and you can add moderators in there. So that's where I saw you guys at. And I go to type in Ed, the old tech guy, and it doesn't see him. So I don't, okay, guys.
Try to go to YouTube. Try to go to YouTube and see your luck.
Well, that's what it was.
Oh.
But by the way, everybody, I think Ed, the old tech guy, he kind of hides himself a little bit because he's actually Jimmy Smits. Remember Jimmy Smits from Hill Street Blues and West Wing and all those great shows? Yeah, I think Ed, the old tech guy, is actually Jimmy Smits out there trying to have fun with all of us. But that's just me. I also think, here's another one I think Joe Smith sleeps standing up and he turns his hat around backwards because people can't tell because he sleeps with one eye open. So that's how you know. The other way you know is not just the one eye open, but I think he holds an AR-15 while he's asleep standing up. So, you may not want to rattle him or anything like that when you come up on him.
Every time I flip my hat around backwards, either it's because of a comfort issue, because maybe I'm sweating a little bit. Most of the times it's because I'm getting ready to get serious about something, kind of like the movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone. Ed says, Dale Lucid, it's cool. YouTube hates me anyways. Justin, what's your favorite car to work on? And I would say domestic. Domestics are my favorite cars to work on. Fairly straightforward, fairly easy, and pretty much the same exact size as when it comes to fasteners. So those would be my favorite ones to work on. Then I would say it's a toss-up between Asian and European. I know that European has more specialty sockets, but they're not too incredibly difficult to work on. But because they have special tools, they also offer a better labor rate, so they pay better, and I can get them done in equal amount of time as I can any domestic platform. Asian cars can be a tricky nightmare to work on because smaller spots, more stuff to take off, etc.
What was that? You were just working on a Tacoma this last week, weren't you? You showed how to adjust the valve lash or something like that on a Tacoma.
Oh, that was on a Honda CRV.
Oh, a CRV. That's right. That's right. I take it back. It was a CRV. Weren't you just working on a Honda CRV this week, though? That's a good thing about being old that you can pull it off to.
It was either the last week or week before last. I might have posted the video this week. It might have been from the week before last. It's hard for me to keep footage and tie it into something that makes sense because sometimes I'll be working on something, but I won't have enough footage or I don't have enough of an idea of what I want to turn it into. It's extremely hard for me to do how-to repair videos as well because time constraints, especially now since we are pretty much dead. The idea is to try to get whatever cars we have done in a quality manner, but also get it done in a fast time frame too.
Are you actually having a blue wrench, Joe? And Snake, man, be cool, be nice.
Yeah, Joe has the blue wrench.
Yeah, I thought he did. Well, Snake's being nasty out there. Be nice.
Just got to get Ed his.
Let's see. I wonder if I got to show all my cool cars. So I showed I showed the Mustang. Oh, wait. I was into bikes a lot when I was a kid too, JD. So let me see if I can find that one.
Are you more of a Harley guy? You kind of seem like more of a cruiser style kind of a guy. Did you like crotch rockets or were you more of a cruiser? You seem like a cruiser kind of a guy. Indian, maybe Harley, something like that.
Okay. Let's not keep the suspense. There you go.
Nice. The old school.
That was before they learned how to spell Harley.
I think that was before they knew how to build a Harley. Look at that thing. That thing is small.
That was my Honda. Do you believe I rode that thing in junior high? So.
Man, can you imagine? Yeah, because I remember when I was in junior high, we knew a guy, and literally, he would take his dirt bike to and from school, and I never could figure out. I mean, he was like the coolest kid in school, anyways, probably because of it. But not only did he was able to lock it up or whatever, but he was the only one that rode to and from school because everything behind his house was all desert from his house straight to the school. So he would literally rip all the way to school and then rip all the way back home. And I just thought that was so freaking cool. And of course, me being about 12 or 13, I was like, I want one too. But of course, everything's asphalt between where I lived all the way to the school. So that didn't happen, but it was still pretty cool. Though I was like, man, some kids just got all the luck in the world,
Well, I will put up, I could not find a picture of what I remembered it looked like, maybe because, it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger's chopper from Terminator or something, is what I saw. But I had right around an 80-something 650 Nighthawk, and it was a special edition because it had like the gold spoke wheels and gold anodized everything when gold anodized was actually cool back then in the Smokey and the Bandit days. So black and gold. And I actually had to get rid of it. I sold it to my brother, and my reason for that was because it could get there before I could see where I was going, which was pretty dangerous for a blind guy on a motorcycle, you could imagine.
Man.
So I kept it down around a Z50, Honda Z50 moped. I had a couple of those too.
So have you always had difficulty seeing then, or was that what happened? Is something that happened?
It's from a bar fight, and there was a broken beer bottle involved, and there's so many good stories that you could tell, and there's no good story. It's just everybody looks at my white hair and they assume it's because I'm an old guy, and it probably is because I was an old guy. But at 11 years old, I look like an old guy too because I'm albino, and part of being albino is you don't have very much pigment in your eyes. That's why my eyes are blue. So my vision's like 20 over 2200. So it's pretty bad. It's not enough to get a license.
Damn.
So get a license to steal. I had a troll one time accuse me of playing the blind card, and it's like, it's not a blind card if it's true.
Right.
What's wrong with you?
That's gotta be rough.
I don't need a blue wrench on my own channel. You're gone. I could see the kick button good enough. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I kick you? I meant to just put you in timeout for about 5 seconds. I'm sorry. my bad. My bad.
Jesse wants to know, how many different YouTube channels do we subscribe to? I would say I'm subscribed to at least between 100 and 200 different channels. And avidly, I would say I watch about 50. There's a couple that will pop up in my recommendation list from channels that I am subscribed to. Like Dale, if you hit the notification bell, you can go over and see the latest video that he posted. And if he hasn't posted in a while, it might ignore whatever he posts the next time because it had been so long before his other post. So it dips out. So when you type in the search block, it brings you back, and then the notifications come back. Really weird how YouTube has it set up. Most of the stuff that pops up on mine is like SNL, Dry Bar Comedy Tour. There's some stuff about MSNBC, Fox Business News, stuff like that. And then there's like BCG Construction and the Den of Tools. And every once in a while, I'll see like Dale Lucid will post one, or I might even catch something from there's a couple of new mechanic channels that just came out that I went ahead and subscribed to. So I'll see them. Rust Belt Mechanic, JRC, etc.
I like to find the new guys like Ed, the old tech guy. And I don't know if you've gotten a chance to go out and watch Jay Who. He had a premiere. I was so mad at him. I'm like, man, you're going to make me wait for – he's a new guy and he knows how to use the premiere button. I'm all clicking on it. I'm like, why can't I watch this video? And it was because it was a premiere video. So I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning so I could go watch Jay Who's new video. But I like to find the new guys like Lakes to Land. There you go, Evan the cameraman. Lakes to Land, I think, is very watchable. Ed, the old tech guy, has better graphics and stuff than what mine are. Just amazingly good, fun stuff, and he has the sound effects. Sound effects are a little more difficult in my post-production software, so I don't do very much of them. But he gets all of his in there. And now Jay Who is out there, and Jay is so funny because he's got a Jay this, a Jay that. Like he has an endless well to draw from as far as he can have a Jay Hungry segment, he can have a Jay Fixed segment, he can have a Jay Tool segment. He can go anywhere with that Jay Who stuff. So I like to find cool new content like that. So there's a. Did you see Zappiel was in the house out there?
What up, Zappiel? Cheers, my man.
It's like, how long do you have to be on YouTube that you actually got to be one of the people with the really cool icons like his bear paw? Or, no, it's not a bear paw. He told us what it was one night over on Den of Tools channel. What was that? What was that?
It's a subscription. If you have over 40,000 subscribers, you can subscribe to a person's channel, pay them $5, $10, $20, and you get a little bear icon instead of the blue wrench. I had one on his channel as well as I had mine over, I think it was a hockey stick over on VCD Construction. Because of everything that's going on, I had to actually cut back all my subscriptions temporarily just to see what happens with work. Once everything gets back to a norm and I'm back to making what I can resubscribe. But yeah, you got to have about 40,000 subscribers before they'll give you that option. And it's basically like Patreon, but for YouTube. So when it says, do you want to join the club or subscribe to the club, you can. which I thought was pretty cool. And like I said, I was subscribed to both of those guys for about a year before this whole thing happened.
Yeah, well, I think his is. I thought he said over at the Den of Tools one night that it was a cat of some sort, a big cat. This black paw right here on his icon. That's what I was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking about what the bear icon was over on the Den of Tools channel. As far as Zaphael's channel and what his thumbnail is, I'm not exactly sure.
I did find that out that you did teach me that. I didn't know you could change those. I don't know why. I was assuming just everybody that did that membership thing would have a bear on their channel. I guess that's kind of stupid. Mine will have like the 3 Blind Mice logo or something on it, right? I'll make that one. What color are your 3 blind mice? Doesn't matter. He can't see it anyway.
Right.
I'm the blind card, so go ahead. Let me have it.
Jehu, what's going on, man? Cheers. Jehu in the house. We were just talking about you.
Oh, he said it's a dog paw print. Zappiel says it's a dog paw print. Antonio, thanks for coming, buddy. Look at all these great people coming out on a Monday night to see this channel. It's because you're such a star, Justin. That's what it is.
No, it's because you got the right channel at the right time. Live streams. People love you, Dale. You got to recognize that. 24 watching, 15 thumbs up. I'm sure we can get 24 thumbs up. Let's get it going, everyone. It only helps increase the quality and content of Dale's channel. It takes half a second, and it's absolutely free. Come on, man. Smash it.
If you're watching on an Android phone, you have to leave the super chat for just a second to hit the thumbs up button. But it only takes a second. You can come right back in the chat, and we won't let anybody talk bad about you while you're gone. So might as well go ahead and go do it. I mean, we didn't say anything. Come on, fellas, back me up. We didn't say anything when Justin got up and went and got another beer. I always want to be there whenever you're in your live stream. It's like, wouldn't it be fun to be there and go turn something in his garage around where he won't notice?
I'm only 2 steps away from the fridge.
Oh. And your shotgun is between there and the fridge. Nobody changing nothing around in my garage, buddy boy. So I you know what I miss though? I find myself waiting for October for your thirsty pirate skeletons that are always in the background. It's like, gosh, I miss those guys sitting back there. Now we got your U.S. General 26-inch back there?
Yeah, I got that.
The toolbox, Justin, the toolbox in the back.
Yeah, got the toolbox in the back, my new little welding station, which I'm hoping to do a little bit more with. And then, of course, the bike's over here to the side.
I hope I'm not missing any of you guys. And I want to say that too, for since so many people are here from the live stream and stuff. If I miss your comment, it's not because I'm ignoring you, out there in the live chat world or whatever, or the live stream worlds when we're out there. It's probably that you see that I keep ducking out is because I have to get so darn close to the screen that I just can't see anything. So.
Ed says, at Justin Dow, best knuckle breaking story with a cheap or expensive tool. I can tell you that for sure. I had a Matco now, no surprise here, right? But I had the Matco 88 tooth technology ratchet with the locking flex head. One of my still go-to favorites. I don't know why, right? But when it very first came out, I was trying to yank back on a brake caliper mounting bracket bolt, and I was tucked in underneath the jack stand in my cousin's garage, and it slipped a tooth. My hand came off the ratchet, and I busted my funny bone against the inside fender well of his left rear fender well. Man, that smarted. So that was that part. And then another one I had, which was with a cheaper tool. I had a Harbor Freight special, little 1/4-inch green and black Pittsburgh handle. I was messing with it, showing everyone on camera just how good the locking device was and how impressed I was with it over the course of a few months. and it was on Mother's Day. And I kid you not, I was yanking on to show it in front of the camera. Not only did I bust my face on camera, but it kind of knocked me back because I was yanking so hard. But got back up. Yep, mouth bloody to hell. Still went out for breakfast that morning. So I've had my pros and cons with not only expensive tools, but also cheap tools. And I can't tell you how many times I've slipped that pry bar and busted myself right in the mouth with it too.
All right, you guys, I'm getting ready to be dangerous here, all right? Because Jehu out there making fun of me. Oh, honey. Oh, honey. Oh, dear. That probably works about as good for me as it does for you, right, Justin?
Yeah. That's what cell phones are for, right? I just go.
He wants to see me.
Answer back. Really? I'm in the house, 10 feet away, and you're going to text me. I'm like, well, yeah, I can't make it that far.
Yeah, I mean, that one would definitely get my head busted. That would definitely get my head busted. I'm gonna turn it over to JD for a second here, guys, and drop out so I can go get something to drink because Jehu just reminded me I'm thirsty.
Thirsty Mondays? All right, cool. I wonder what he's got in store for us. Maybe a little bit of rum and Coke, a little whiskey and Coke. I'm not sure what Dale's fancy is for Monday nights, but I think he's getting ready to kick back a little bit with your boy here. So how's it going, everybody? Monday night. Hopefully you guys are still working. Chilling here over on Dale Lewis's channel. Freaking awesome guy. Love what he's done with his white Harbor Freight 5-drawer cart. Kind of curious to see an update on that and what all he's done with it. Ed says, Justin Dow. How about a story about the Honda J engine harmonic balancer and how do you take it off? LOL. And Zaphael says the locking mechanism came loose, right? Yep, that is correct. Going back to Ed's question, yeah, no, I was using a 3/4 inch gear wrench breaker bar ratchet, was still able to bust it loose. A lot easier with that than it was the gun. The gun, it just did not seem to go anywhere. Jehu, Justin Dow, back in the day, I helped my uncle lift a 2-door Blazer we put on a 5-gallon bucket, went to buy brakes, came back, and the Blazer was leaning on the garage wall, LOL. Man, I'll tell you what, I had this old Pontiac Catalina. I think it was a 78 or 79. I needed to put tires on this thing. It was in the dirt. I picked it up for like $500 or something like that for my best friend's brother. I had to put tires on it. I threw all the tires in my truck at the time and just went down the road about 10, 15 miles to get them interchanged. I was gone for maybe about an hour. Anyone that lives in the desert knows that the sand gives out pretty quick on a hot day. Came back, this whole thing was laying in the dirt, frame and all. Took me forever to get it back up off the dirt. Had to use some plywood and the jack stands to get it reset just for me to put tires on this thing. And then still couldn't get it to run due to all the rodent damage. So came back the next weekend, fixed that. Then it still had trouble running. It was running lean. So we went ahead and we loaded it up on a tow truck. Had my buddies come out. Turned out not only was the distributor 180 out, but the plug bars were also offset and the points were dirty as hell. So we cleaned those up. And I'll tell you, I ran and lived out of that thing for about 6 months before I ended up selling it. But talk about rough times, man. Living on a 79 Pontiac Catalina that smelt as old as it was. But what's for the drink tonight, sir? What did you go pick up? A little tequila, a little whiskey, a little rum?
When I was, when was I? I think when I was on with the boys Thursday with Ed, the old tech guy, and Jehu, we were having a good time, and I actually decided I'd get my one drink a month. I'm diabetic, so I'm not supposed to have any liquor, but man, I love me a Jack and a Coke. I used to be a bartender down at, if anybody knows, the new Vegas is Laughlin, Nevada, and living here in Arizona, that's where you went to work as a kid, and I was a bartender down there at a club called the Losers Lounge, appropriately named after me. Anyway, I was a bartender at the Losers Lounge, and I remember when I first got hired into the beverage department with training and all, I'm like, why are all these bartenders drunk? The biggest bunch of alcoholics I ever saw in my whole life when I worked in that place. And then it's like, oh, free liquor. Figured it out real quick then. I used to, when they closed the upstairs part, because it was very, very late at night, and the upstairs balcony was where I used to bar, and they had a private small bar up there. Whenever they closed it off, I used to sneak me a 6-pack of Corona and some fresh lime in the ice bucket there, and I'd get to go across the rope and grab a buddy or a girlfriend or whatever, or, whatever. Anyway, we'd go up there and just watch the music all night and drink a 6-pack of Coronas or whatever we wanted to make from the bar. It was a great job, but now I'm old and feeble, and I can't. I was going to guess, by the way, that Justin's favorite car was Barbie Jeep, and I would have been totally off on that. But wouldn't you just once love to ride down a hill in one of those things like they do? Those guys back south in the South do. Have you seen those, Justin? The Barbie Jeep race?
I hadn't seen those yet. No, I had not.
They take the little kid Barbie Jeep and they get on the top of the hill. It's usually at like a off-road event or whatever, and they get at the top of the hill and they push these guys, great big redneck guys. They push them over the hill.
I think actually the only guy now that I know what you're talking about, I think the only guy that I saw do that was Matt from the Bleepin' Jeep channel, and they were racing each other, I think, downhill, which was absolutely hilarious. Let me grab another beer. Cheers, everyone.
Oh yeah, that's right, Ed. I didn't even. Ed trying to get the YouTube demons on me over here. Oh, if you see me rock, by the way, I noticed in our last live stream with Jehu and Ed, I was rocking back and forth. I have part of my albinism is I have astigmatism, and so the doctor said ever since I was a kid that I do that I rock like that. I don't even know I'm doing it, but I rock like that because my eyes are trying to focus. So just in case anybody has that question, I'll answer the questions. You guys want to know what an old blind guy knows? I'll tell you all kinds of ridiculous stuff, and half of it is not even made up. Some of it might be true. So my wife didn't come in because she's ready for bed. So she's not old like I am, but I've made her old before her time. Some of my weird crap that I've done. What's the dumbest thing you've done, Justin, that you could talk about on YouTube?
Hang on. Grim, vodka. That's interesting mix. I don't know anyone that's ever mixed vodka and tequila together. I will tell you that sounds pretty dangerous. One of my most dangerous drinks is definitely the Pinnacle whipped vodka mixed with the Pico orange. Tastes like an orange popsicle. And I'll tell you, one of the dumbest things that I did was I drank 2/5, and my uncle had 2/5. And then we decided that we were going to confront Grandpa, his dad, basically my dad too. But we went to go confront him about some stuff at his house. Things got a little bit reckless and careless. I was wearing my little Captain America shirt, and when the cops came, I totally thought I was fucking Captain America. So I puffed up my little chest, and next thing you know, I was taken down by 3 cops, and then I was hauled off to the pen for a couple days. So I would say maybe don't drink 2/5 of Pinnacle whipped vodka with Pico. Keep it to 1/5 or half a fifth. But that is some dangerous liquid, I'll tell you that. Avoid lockup if you can, because the next day they just kind of dump you off at a Walmart in the middle of nowhere, and then you got to figure out how to get back home. So,
vodka and tequila are 2 of the drinks. All of the clear liquors are in a Long Island iced tea. That's the only thing that I can think of that I ever poured that had vodka and tequila both in them. So. Besides, a few people into a cab maybe that had vodka and tequila in them, but
To be honest, Grim, I don't even remember half the night because after that, I went from county jail to I went from the city jail to county lockup. So maybe I got a little bit worse when I got to the city jail. So yeah, again, probably don't drink so much of it and stir up shit. I don't. Sorry, not trying to cuss on your channel. Trying to keep it as PC as I can.
It's not just a Dell if one doesn't slip out. It's not.
I try my best. I'll tell you what. On other people's channel, I do try my best. And yeah, maybe don't buy the $10 Captain America T-shirt from Walmart, okay? Because it doesn't really pan out.
Yeah, it's happy out. They're all right. It's 20 over 2,200. So the top number doesn't matter because the 20 is what the what is it, the landmark or whatever it is, vision, that something has like an equals 0 over whatever eagle's vision is, because they're supposed to, that's what they base that scale on is eagle side, I think, or hawk or something something that sees much better than I do. But humans are supposed to see 20/20. I see 20 over 2,200. 2,200.
I was saying that night I probably saw 20 out of 2 because I saw multiple pairs of cops at that point.
20 cops and then 2,200 more. Let's see.
Call that the Captain America drink. Damn right. I swear to God, I really did. I felt like I was Captain America. All like puffed up, ready to go. Not going to take Captain America down. Yeah, well, that got shut down pretty quick. Cops get mad when you assault them, and they have special laws protecting them. I didn't assault them. That was the funny part. I might have created a little bit of property damage before they showed up. But when they showed up, I was literally in the doorway, and I took 2 steps out and just stood there. And they took that as being hostile. And next thing you know, ass over elbows, I was on the ground. So I didn't assault anybody. I never touched nobody. I don't know. Maybe I an immediate threat and was handled as such.
That's how bad you are at this drunk thing, Justin. I mean, when I was a kid and I was getting drunk, I didn't need the cops' help to get on the ground. I'd get there all by myself. They're usually the ones picking me up, dragging me out of there. You can't sleep here, buddy. Move along.
Another reason why I stick to my garage. I don't go to bars no more. I don't go out in the public. I do my thing in my garage, and I carry my sad ass back to bed and go to sleep for work the next day.
Hey, everybody, here's my shilling gratuitous pop-up Harbor Freight coupon that I promised, and that is not it.
That's not it. I'll say, well, you got one hell of a way of showing it because that thing is from the 70s or 80s, and I don't think they have a 20% coupon that lasts that long. That thing's definitely expired.
There we go. There's my pop-up coupon right there. So somebody had asked on the Den of Tools. I was telling JD before we came in here, somebody had asked on the Den of Tools if the 25% coupon, and man, that would have been a great idea, the Easter coupon. But we were talking about that, and it's like, well, while Eric is going to help out the best he can, I think Eric Smith over there, I don't think he's going to give the store away. And I just wanted to let everyone know I tried the 25% coupon. Now, this is not a guaranteed thing. Our favorite rule, we were talking about that, Justin and I, is always ask. Always ask them because you never know. But when I tried it in the cart tonight, it doesn't work. It said that it was expired. So some of the other coupons work, and this is one of them until the end of the month. It's 25% off. They have all these new Manic toolkits like you would when we were working on cars in the driveway and nobody needed like a regular brake kit or whatever, or brake caliper tool. We would go in and rent it from the parts store. And these Manics, I think, would be good for that. They're probably not good for, I don't know. They may not work in a pro setting or whatever, but I think they would work good enough if you do so much of them that you think that you would want to have one of those kits. Justin was saying, I think they have a
Actually,
regular flush kit.
you would be surprised because the Manic lineup is the newer and more improved model to the Pittsburgh lineup that they used to have for the brake rewind tool, which I actually owned previously, and Shane still owns to this day, and it still works well after almost 10 years of his ownership of it. So I will tell you that if the Manic version is a newer and more improved quality version of the Pittsburgh version, I think you're going to be pretty well satisfied. And like you said, especially for a tool that you might not use all the time, but if your vehicle needs it and you do brakes once every other year, you don't have to worry about paying those rental fees for it, which can come in handy.
Rodney Witcher is out there. How you doing, Rodney?
What up, Rodney?
It's always good to see him out there. You know what? I would like to throw that one to Justin because I always talk about my Harbor Freight cart, but if I can be mean and talk about one time I dated this girl in high school or something, and her dad hated me. And we were over at their house, and they were like pack rats. They had they literally had pathways through their house where you would have to walk from room to room, and all the rest of it was full of junk. He worked at a junkyard. He used to bring home all kinds of stuff. He didn't even know what he had. And one night he chased me off from his daughter, and I was being a little, jerk or whatever. And I just pulled a power cord out of a pile somewhere and cut it off, and then left. When he was cleaning out his junk stuff one day, and he came across the nicest Milwaukee drill you'd ever seen that had the power cord cut off of. And by then he started to like me, and he handed it out, holding it by the cord that was cut off, and gave it to me. I'm like, that's probably the best tool deal I'm ever going to get in my whole life. I'm going to go cut the end off of everything in Justin's garage. Go shopping over there. So there you go, Ed. That's probably the best tool deal that I ever got that I didn't know I was going to get.
Did you see the April Fool's joke coupon that was posted? I thought it was hilarious. It was 100% off of any item at Harbor Freight, but you were only allowed one item if you started reading the fine print. Good only through April 1st of 2020. It was absolutely hilarious because it said, is not applicable to this, pretty much anything that they had in the store. And then at the bottom it said, April Fools, hope you guys enjoy your holiday. And I was like, that's hilarious. But the big old, 100% off any one item goes, and you were like, oh, dude. And, more than screenshot it and zoom in to look at the fine print and realize it doesn't go towards anything. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Good April Fool's joke for sure.
I think Client Graphics had that on his community post.
That's where I think I saw it. Maybe that's where I saw it.
It was like 55% off. I'm like,
that might have been 55. I thought it was 100%, but yeah, I was like, I started laughing, man. I was rolling. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
I wonder how many people were whipping that out in the store saying, hey, look at it. I got this.
Oh, man. I looked, I was like, oh, no shit. And I clicked the little thumbs up, and I zoomed in, and I screenshot it, and I zoomed in a little further, started looking at the fine print, and I was like, got me. Got me.
Yeah, he got me too. By the way, that's another shameless plug. Client Graphics has a video coming up. He's going to put, I don't know if you saw his preview for it. He's putting a 7-foot extension on a torque wrench to see how accurate it comes when you put that long of an extension on. He's got like 50 extensions put together, and he has to stand like in the neighbor's yard and film over to his house to show this big long extension. I'm like, how are you? He's got to have a remote camera or something on his torque meter to be able to read it from that distance. It's like probably have to shut the traffic off on the street and stuff. It still ought to be pretty funny. And like a 7. Do you think that'll influence how accurate the torque wrench is? The 7 foot, I imagine, you get a lot of twist in there.
I don't really know how it's going to break down accuracy-wise. I can't tell you. I've never ran into a situation where I needed that much leverage to move the world outside of I don't know, picking up a vehicle and getting it to scoot forward or moving a lift slide one way or the other. But it'll be interesting to say the least. Joe Smith had a favorite drink: half-ounce vodka, half-ounce light rum, half-ounce Blanco tequila, half-ounce gin, 1 ounce triple sec, orange juice 1 ounce, and then pineapple juice. What a dangerous mix. I bet that is one delicious damn drink.
I would not want to know what's going to happen in the morning after that one, that's for sure. Especially as hard as it is to find toilet paper these days. It's like,
I will say that is a lot of different types of liquor to own, and your budget is a lot more friendlier than mine, because mine would be reduced to 1 liquor beverage and 1 part soda at this point. You would have caught me a year ago, I'd have been like, I'm going to try that, and I probably would have bought all that stuff to try to make it just to see what it goes. I think about 6 months back, I did do a Caribou, which is 151 and Malibu rum only. They weren't selling 151, so I just went with the Oakwood rum from Bacardi, and then I went with some Malibu and pineapple juice, and that was a pretty damn good drink too.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing I became diabetic, and it's only been within the last few years or so, because man, they started coming out with them flavored rum, and or flavored vodkas. I was all over that. The only one I haven't seen yet is a coffee vodka. It's like, man, I'll risk it then. If I ever find some of that stuff, it's going to be like, yeah, that's the ticket right there. It's some of that and some Baileys. You imagine that? Coffee vodka flavored coffee vodka and Bailey's Irish cream.
Or even Kahlua too. I mean, if that's all you got.
Or what's that? What's that one they have now that tastes like cinnamon toast? Oh, that's just it was easy to be a bartender back in my day, because we had like 5 things, and most of them were all made in a bathtub, so they all tasted alike. We used to the free drinks we gave away, they had on a gun. So you had your mixer gun and your drink gun. It was like milking a cow, you'd be doing this thing all night. And it's like somebody ordered something with vodka, and it didn't matter. You got the same thing. If you ordered anything with vodka or tequila in it, whatever came out of that number 3 on the gun, that's what you got, because there was no telling what they put on there. It was something clear. So it could have been gin for all I know, whatever. But by the time you get cheap drink, free drinks that they give at casinos with tequila and vodka, in them, you can't tell the difference between them anyway.
The one thing that kind of got me onto the super cheap beers, I'll tell you, was that in Oregon, and I used to love this shit. It was at the Titty Bar. Can I say that? It was a quarter beer night, and it was Pabst Blue Ribbon, as much as you could drink for a quarter. And I swear to God, it was always on Thursday night around ladies' night, and we would just go in there and play pool. And I kid you not, for like a couple of dollars, get absolutely blitzed. But I think the point of that was the fact that we lost a lot more distributing tips to the ladies doing their thing, if you will.
You could say that word, because my wife did.
Okay.
Ed and Jay Who would give me a hard time because she couldn't remember Gentlemen's Club, so she just pops right off. Thanks, wife. There goes any semblance I might have had of a wholesome image. It was gone then, boy. She just gave it right away and said, "Oh yeah, well, his buddies, they all used to take me to that the Gentlemen's Club, Justin, because since I'm blind, they had an excuse to sit in the front row. That's the only reason they took me, because I wasn't in front. It's like, I can't see nothing. I don't want to go.
Hey man, front row or not, I was always in the front row, and if you were in the front row, you better distribute at least $1 or $2 per song. That was the rule. So if we were at the pool table, you didn't really have to distribute too much. So we just stuck to the quarter beer night. Hey, we're here for the beers. It's nice to see the tatas from afar, but a little bit of pool action. We're still spending money between beers and pool. It was 75 cents for the pool per game, and it was 25 cents. So about $1 an hour, $1 every half an hour. We were pretty good.
I didn't see the second post, Joe.
Hey, how's that white 5-drawer cart treating you? I was watching the video a while back when I first started watching your channel of where you were putting the screen on it and everything else. How's that thing been going? Is there an update coming up? We was talking about it when you had to go for a brief moment. You got an update coming up on that thing?
I'm glad you asked about it, Justin, because I probably need to update everybody that was, watching about that. That cart was for a project that I plan on donating to a vet charity. And when I finished and got into it, and I want to send kudos out to the guy, and he's kind of shy, he doesn't want to mention, but the guy that won the giveaway for that, the $50, he donated it back. So it's actually in the cart. So that cart is packed up, and it's got moving blankets over it, and it's still looking for a home with a vet charity. And I got a lot of great ideas. But it was really disappointing when I got into it, and I certainly learned a lesson about having that kind of thing going on again because, I had viewers that donated to it and everything else. And it seems like all they want for those VA things, and you're probably well aware of that as I am, is that they want to eat it all up in administration. They want the money, 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 money. They don't want something that like that where they can train vets to fix computers or work on computers or whatever. Now, what I do want to do with it, and this, I can't promise this because Joe Smith's on the other side of the country, but Joe Smith has a really great vet charity. They don't have fancy buildings or anything like that because his group doesn't eat up administration. Everything they get goes direct to vets, and they help train them, get them tooled up, that sort of thing. So I think that's among the line that the people that donated to it would want to see this cart go. So if I can get it out to Arkansas, if you guys know somebody that does deliveries, and a couple of truck drivers, Clayton left, but there was somebody else here that was a truck driver, and I bet you Jay, who's going to know who it was. But I would love to get this thing hauled out to Arkansas to Joe so we can, I can keep that promise that it goes to charity. But I never used that, Justin. It was strictly built for that, and once I got done building it, we tooled it up pretty good with some of the money donations that trickled in after that, and then the gift card is in it, so it's ready to roll, and maybe teach some vets how to hook up computers to it and do some diagnostics and make them a few bucks, so that they can make the. How was that for you? That transition back into a civilian job from the military, was that a difficult transition to make?
I don't think I've actually fully still transitioned. I do have my moments too that I go through. So as far as the transition, it's nothing that's overnight. It definitely takes time, and it can take years. You may never ever retransition back into it. There are times that I'd much rather go over there and be a BB shooter than do what I'm doing. But then I have to think about my family and everything else. So it wears on the nerves a little bit because a huge part of you wants to be over there, doing what we got to do. And then another part of you that you have reality that strikes too. Not just age, but, your family, your kids, you got bigger responsibilities, things like that. Coming back to the charity thing for a minute, I would say another alternative might be is you might check out your local VFW. And let them know what you got going on, and maybe one of either the vice president, the treasurer, or the president of the VFW at that time, they might be able to put something on for you to help out with that if you're looking to give it away to vets specifically. Not everybody in the VFW is in their senior years. A lot of the guys, like even my buddy up north, he's in one of the Oregon VFWs, and he's the president, and he's in his late 30s. Just to give you an idea. So there's lots of vets that go into the VFW. So there are some that are in the VFW that are working regular jobs, mechanics, software engineers, hardware engineers, engineers in general for electrician or mechanical. I mean, you got guys that are working at the airport as operation control specialists and things like that. So it might be another option for you to look into if you can't get it back to Arkansas anytime soon. Might be to consider going over to the VFW.
That is a great. Somebody made that suggestion. It must have just been about a week ago when I was talking to somebody, And yeah, gosh, thanks for reminding me because I forgot about that. I needed to call the local I know there's a local VFW, so I'm going to call them and check on it. But
I know at least 40% of the guys that are at my current unit right now out in Palmdale, they're all attached to the local VFW, and we usually go through when we're there for our once a month weekend things. If we ain't doing much and we're there at the armory, we'll go on over and we'll hang out, have a beer, support, throw a few bucks down towards helping out with the, what little bit they get to keep the place open.
Rodney, I am in northern Arizona, northwest Arizona. Yeah, it was like ridiculous, but to ship it. And the thing is that now it's not taken apart, it's all together, so it has to be shipped as one regular thing. But we're
another thing you can do too, if you wanted to donate to his specific charity, even if you can't donate what it is that you currently have, you guys could work together to help aid in that, where you have a GoFundMe or whatever kind of a platform, and we can redistribute wealth that way. So even though it's not for the one item that you have, because you're looking at the local VFW, but you wanted to help support Joe Smith's charity, if there was a link that people could go to donate, and we can make that well known, then people can go over and help out to help get vets back on their feet. Maybe not just for a tool cart, but maybe just in general, like especially with everything that's going on. Maybe he's, with what he's doing and how he's distributing it, maybe there's a way that we can help out certain veterans that lost their job or are having a hard time affording their rent. If there's some kind of, FundMe or PayPal thing that we can do to help Joe Smith with that, then I think a lot of people would be inclined to still help, even if it's not with the one project that you're trying to mail off,
I had actually considered that, but I had such a great response, and the guys that contributed to it were just so selfless when it comes to stuff like that, and then I was so disappointed when I kept running in, and what a lot of people said, Justin, was, oh, I'll give it to the community college. It's like, the vets have to pay to go to the community college. Why should the community college make something off of donated that was specifically for vets to use, and then they're still selling tuition for everybody to use it? It's like, this is for vets.
So veterans that go to community college, even like myself that went there, we get things like the post 9/11 GI Bill, and then for non-vets, there's the Montgomery GI Bill. But as they're going through school, they could very well be in the automotive program. And when you volunteer to donate, you don't have to necessarily donate it to the college. If you remember a while back, I actually donated over $1,500 in tools and a toolbox and welder and so forth to my college. It wasn't actually to the college itself. I told them when I got there, they said, hey, thank you for donating it to the college. I'm like, I think you might have had me misunderstood. I was really trying to donate it to the students. And once I actually laid it out for them, they're like, oh, well, that's cool too. You can do that for sure. And I was like, okay, great. So I just started drawing names, and everyone got something. And then at the end, we just made it a little bit of a free-for-all for whatever was left. But everybody got a little bit of something. The college didn't get it, so it's not like the college made anything on it, and it was worthwhile. Everyone enjoyed it.
Well, that's another. I actually never did call them because I really thought I'd have quite a few more options, than I did. But like I said, I would like to get direct hands on it, to where you actually see a vet that, boom, and actually say, hey, and then want to build one. I wanted to build one because I was telling, I think Ed, the old tech guy, this earlier today. I said, I built something like that when I was a kid. And, well, not when I was a kid, but when I retired like 5 times. I was a DJ. I have music. I have the world's biggest stereo out in my garage. And I retired and I fixed computers for a while for people that couldn't afford to go to the Geek Squad, because those guys at Geek Squad don't know anything about computers, I'll tell you what. But I used to fix computers pretty cheap. And I always had a lot of them to fix because I fixed them cheap. And I took a microwave oven cart, and I made it into a cart like that where I could hook up, 3-4 computers and work on them and fix them at a time, bounce from computer to computer in the middle of the night. And it was on wheels, so I could put it away during the day when everybody was moving around, and at night when everybody went to bed and I was watching TV, I just wheel it out and hook up a bunch of computers and fix them. But so I always, if I could have built one for myself back when I was using one, it's like that's what I would have built. I can imagine. And back then, Justin, I think you might remember this, is like people were like, what do you do with a white cart? Why would a mechanic want a white cart? And I kind of thought that at first too. It's like, yeah, that's going to get grease all over and dirty out in the shop. And like, why? And then it occurred to me, well, what about an auto tech? And then it took a while. It was funny. I think they were out for about 3 or 4 months, maybe longer. And then all of a sudden, there was like an ad or a little like multimedia or something ad that Harbor Freight put out, and they actually showed it being used as like an auto diagnostic tech's cart, where he had like what is like their zircon or whatever it is tool on it and stuff like that. Somebody would diagnose computer codes or run down electrical issues, stuff like that. Those kind of tools. But yeah, it was a great project. I probably talked about too long. We're probably going to wrap it up real quick.
Well, let me answer a couple of questions if I could real quick. Ed, the old tech guy, wants to know best military story. Okay, so one of the ones that I remember, and I actually quite miss this kind of stuff. We were on convoy ops. We just got to our position, so we went from A to B. We finally got to B, and we had just got done getting shot at a little bit. Okay, it bounced off the armor, so we were okay. And the place had gotten a couple of rocket attacks. As a result, we had to be parked and staged in one specific area. We couldn't go anywhere. And just out of nowhere, we had just a chem light war. We had a bunch of chem lights, and we just started throwing them at each other in the middle of this whole thing. And that was probably one of my more favorite times. But yeah, you'd think, what a bunch of crazy nut jobs. They're having a chem light war in the middle of a rocket attack after they just got done getting shot at. But it's just the way that it goes. So Joe Smith went ahead and posted his link for those of you that were interested in donating to the troops. I will do so at a later date as soon as I can afford to do so. I did copy and highlight that, so we look forward to doing it. Grim wanted to know what was the biggest POS I ever had to work on. Anything diesel? But no, outside of that, I had a Pontiac Fiero. This thing was a piece of crap. I tried fixing it, doing whatever I possibly could to it, just could not seem to get it to hold any kind of an idle unless I revved it up for a long time. So when I had someone getting ready to buy it, I went outside and for a good 10 minutes just got this thing super hot where it held an idle. So when he came out, he could start it. Ended up getting rid of that thing for like $200 or some shit just to get it off my property. I told him the trans was gone, but he didn't care. He still wanted to run it and drive it. He got about a whole 20 or 30 feet, and he's like, okay, cool, I'm good to go. Paid me, left, got to the end of the block, and needed to be towed. And I was like, okay, cool, rock and roll.
Look at Zappiel over here.
Yeah, so the blue tarp, everyone keeps asking me, what's this blue tarp about? So we got this little fan on the roof, right? And it like spins around to help ventilate the inside of the garage and whatnot. I kid you not. I came home one day after this monsoon kind of weather thing, and I had a huge puddle. Everything was wet. The tools, the bikes, the everything. And I was like, man, and you got to have it because in the summertime, especially with me smoking, you got no ventilation or no forth. So I was like, okay, I'm going to throw a tarp up here, and then whatever little bit gets in is going to be all collected up there. And I kid you not, that thing has been up there, I guess, if I had to guesstimate, probably for a year. But every time it rains, I don't have to worry about all my crap getting wet anymore. So that is what the story is behind the blue tarp. So until I do something up there and make it permanent, the blue tarp is more of a collection. And then when it gets hot, it evaporates and the humidity just goes right on out the chute. It's not a water leak. It's because of the fan spinning. So as it's raining, it literally acts like a sprinkler, and it just sprays it everywhere and conglomerates in the garage. It's an absolute nightmare. So that is what the whole purpose behind that is.
But then again, that could just be his story and he's sticking to it.
That's my story.
Well, everybody, we're just about getting to wrap it up. I have one more thing to bring up. Now, I'm only going to show this for a second, but this is going to be a really, really big thing coming up here within 2 weeks, I'm going to say. Okay, so I got the inside hook on it, and yeah, it's not Harbor Freight, but you guys will know. Okay, are you ready? Because I'm only going to flash it for a second. Here it comes. That's all you get.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Something kind of cool coming up, and
I saw Pro Power and some numbers, and then that was it. And I was like,
give it one more. Here we go. Everybody see it? Everybody get a good look at it? If you're a fan of this company, you'll probably know it. Yeah, let me just give it away, because Codename Cloak and Dagger threw this over at me. They're going to be coming out with a new Warrior Pro X over at Olight. Olight makes like these really super fantastic, like tactical type gear and stuff. And when they first approached me and asked me to do the couple of little things I did, I said, well, I'll do that, but what I'm really interested for my guys are these two things, and one of them was the Warrior Pro X. And coming up on the 24th, they're going to have a flash sale because they're coming out with 2 new colors of that flashlight. But it's like this super, it's like $150 flashlight, and it's worth every penny of it. But still, that's a steep amount to pay for this. But it's a rechargeable. It's got the magnetic clip on it, and 2,200 lumens. The reason I even wanted to test it, because I'm like, let me see, I can drop it from 9 feet and it still works. They tested it on like 1,200 flashlights, 200 times a piece, and none of them failed from 9 feet high. So, most people that are carrying a tactical flashlight are going to carry it that high anyway. But anyway, I think I might be getting one. And if I do, I'm going to give it away on the channel. So,
especially if it's a military guy, I would say that it's nice to have a high lumen flashlight, but we don't always, when it's nighttime, we don't run them. White light gives away your position, which we're usually in either green or red, and even then you're covered up and you're only allowed to have it on for so many seconds. But I will tell you, it is nice to have an extremely bright flashlight, especially if you're a hiker or a camper and you get lost and you need to light up the entire world to let somebody know where you're at. That is a perfect flashlight to have. So pros and cons, right? Depending if you're trying to use it in a tactical environment or not.
They have a Balder Pro rail mount light, and it's got a laser sight on it. It's a green laser sight. They've got a red one, but I like the green one. And supposedly, you can see it plain as day during the day.
Sweet.
And that could take like what was it, like a 2.5 meter drop or something. It's like, man, I hope nobody's gonna drop their pew pew from that far.
Right.
I've just seen a few people drop it that far before, and they're probably cutting a few potatoes after that for a little while.
Right.
Let's see, what do we got out here? We're getting ready to block the screen. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the only thing, is that if you guys are going to shop there, I will have an affiliate link. I didn't know what an affiliate link was, JD, and I actually found that out because they called me up and they said, hey, you made $25, and I'm like, oh, I thought that's just so you know that I sent my guys over there, and they're, I thought they were counting. They said, no, you made a couple of bucks. Now for the charity event they were. And by the way, everybody, all you guys that contributed to that charity event, they made $785,000. They ran out of all the, some of the gimmies and the special stuff they gave away, but it was only because they had such an overwhelming response. They usually don't run out that quick. But yeah, everybody wanted to chip in and help with this thing. I wanted to tell you, Justin, I actually wasn't too worried about it until you were talking on your stream, and you sounded like you were getting a little bit worried. Like I went in and told my wife I had like the big eyes and stuff. I'm like, oh, Justin's getting a little worried. Maybe I should start worrying too.
Yeah, Yeah, it's definitely different times. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone ever planned for something of this magnitude to ever take place. Of course, you know, back in the old 30s and even 40s, when we had the Great Depression, it was one of those things that you just didn't expect to ever happen. Then we had the recession in '08, which really tanked the real estate market, plus, you know, the job market. We started to come back up. We were getting up there towards the top, and in even less time frame than 2008, 2009. If you go back and you look at any of the charts for unemployment, for the market, it is over the course of about, you know, half the year, 4 months to 6 months as it transitions and trickles down. Whereas we didn't have any idea, and it literally dropped off the face of the earth all within 1 month. You got businesses, which even in 2008, as I was a non-essential worker during this time frame, gas prices were high, but I was still working. I was working part-time. And I felt it through the wallet, through gas prices and everything, because we were fighting with, you know, people overseas for crude oil, this, that, and the other. So I did feel the repercussions of it, but I didn't own a house. I didn't feel the repercussions of that. I wasn't in the market. I didn't feel the repercussions of that. So for me, it was just hard to maintain at the level that I was at. Whereas now, where I had a good income, everything's good, cost of living was low, everything was floating along just nice and smoothly. And then to have all non-essential businesses closed, to where it affected the essential businesses, to where my hours dropped, where not only did I have to take an extra day off, a couple of half days, but now I might have to either remove a couple of days to even closing the shop. I'm like, is this real? Is this really what's going on right now? You know, and everyone just wondering, we're going to unlock the doors and finally let people back into the real world. And I'm like, we're talking about a flu. But yes, I understand it is deadly, but we're not talking about a plague. So I just don't understand what the reasoning was behind shutting down an entire economy due to it. I understand taking precautions. I understand limiting people that are sick and asking them to stay home. But I don't understand shutting down an entire economy. So I'll leave the rest of my political jargon alone for now, but those are my 2 cents on the matter.
Darian Robinson, thanks for dropping in, buddy. You missed the whole thing, but you already know. Does anybody catch Darian's channel, by the way? Darian Robinson has a channel. Darian, you have to let us know in the comments, Darian. Did you pick up more work? His shop Darian is another mechanic I like to watch because, you know, unlike us guys of Shade Tree, you know, one of my favorite things about Justin's channel has always been getting to watch him work on stuff. And Darian does that too. Like he was doing an inspection after a lube change and rotation or something like that. I may be getting all this wrong because he's like one of their higher level mechanics, but he caught a broken wheel that somebody missed. And he was showing us how you spot something like that, a cracked rim. He was showing us how you spot that kind of stuff. And he shows us, he shows, you know, the tools, you know, this is when you want to go pneumatic. This is when you want to go the Milwaukee, you know, he has every Milwaukee, everything, every snap on everything, all in a Harbor Freight 5-door tool cart. So, right. You know, what was important to him is to have the tools to do the job, not so much to have the place. If I say this right, Darian, not to have the place to put them in, but the tools to get the job done.
It comes back to my statement from the other evening. You know, me being 36 years old right now, I didn't buy my first pair of Jordans until I was 34 years old. I've had them for about 2 years now, but I just never had that kind of money, nor really saw that kind of. I never really put it two to two together. It was like, I need shoes for my feet, but I don't need the most expensive. So long as I can pit and pattern and get to and from, I just never saw the reason for spending that kind of money on a shoe. And so for many years, all I ever bought was like the Payless specials, like the Airwalks and, you know, the Walmart specials like Dickies or Brahmin or, you know, the Ozark, you know, things like that. Those were the shoes that I stuck with for many, many years. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s, early 30s that I decided to go with like Adidas and even K-Swiss, and then eventually Timberland. And I was like, okay, so now I'm starting. So maybe I'll try these Jordans out and just see what all the hype was. And I'll tell you what, from one shoe to another, they feel the exact same. They are comfortable. I treat them nice. I have them for long periods of time. But you know what? At the end of the day, a shoe is a shoe. And that's kind of like a tool. Yes, some tools will burn out real quick. Some cheap tools will last a lifetime. Some expensive tools will last a lifetime. And some expensive tools will burn out real quick too. It just depends on the situation and what kind of money you want to use and, under what circumstances you're using them in. So, spend your money on what you will, but I think we can all learn a little something from this whole entire pandemic situation. And I think the biggest thing to learn from it is that all of us that wanted that Gucci product now are starting to realize that maybe it would have been nicer to set aside a little bit of that dinero, a little bit of that cheese that we were making to the side. I think we would have rather had some kind of savings than had the Gucci product from the tool truck. That's my 2 cents on that.
No, I remember you said about you wish you had put a third of your salary together, like what you do when you start a business. A third of it for payroll, a third of it for this, et cetera, et cetera. So,
right.
By the way, Rodney, I'm looking so cold because I was trying. My computer screen has to be so big for me to see it. I actually use a TV, but it's so big for me to see it that I couldn't get myself for reference and my computer screen in the same shot of my camera so that you guys could see why I look like I'm freezing to death over here. But we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to give let Justin have one final say to you all. I appreciate you all very much for coming to visit us and just get your mind off of things for a while. I hope we put on a pretty good show for you here. And I'm going to let Justin have his last thing, but all of you stay safe and stay well and take care. Justin?
Be well. I don't know. If I get just ripped enough, I may just go live afterwards. But I really wanted to hang out with you tonight, and I appreciate you having me on, Dale. Look, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun, and it's been a pleasure to be on your channel tonight. I know that you thought you might be inconveniencing me, but no inconvenience whatsoever. Been wanting to be on your show for a little bit, kind of share the support, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to hang out with you live and hang out with the fans.
Oh yeah, these big YouTube stars like Joe Smith and Jeff and Justin Dow, it's like, oh man, I'd love to meet Justin. I'd love to sit back and have a beer with him one of these days. He seems like so cool and blah, blah, blah. And then, I met Joe and I'm like, did he really ask me to be on the show? Is he being nice? I thought, but anyway, appreciate all of you. Thank you very much for coming, Justin. We'll have to do it again sometime. And you go live because it looks like you have quite a following out here. They're probably going to go out there and look for you now. Rest of you guys, take care until next time. And don't forget all the stuff coming up on the channel. Good night, everybody.
Be well and cheers.